Welcome to Tamara Tattletales. I'm Tamara, and I spill the tea on your favorite reality stars. Looking for some relationship advice? Well, Pastor Cal from Married at First Sight went live on Instagram to answer questions about love and marriage, and he offered up some advice. Plus, he answered a few questions about the show.
This is a surprise live. I'm going to answer a couple questions. Every now and then, I like to just surprise folk and pop up. I want to share something with you tonight about, about how to maintain a positive communication in your relationship. You know, there's so many people out there who are shock jocks doing their thing, making people feel bad and all this other crap. I ain't into it, but my thing here is I'm here to let you know that good relationships are possible. And I want to show you how to get that in your life, okay? Yes, someone's asked questions. Yes, we've considered MAFS over 50s. Absolutely, we've considered it, trying to work it out. Hey, from Alabama. Okay, someone submitted a question, would love me to answer. What's your question? What's the question, Briefland? Premarital advice? Oh my God. You want premarital advice? We don't have enough time. Okay, give me that question. How do you feel when you see that the relationships on MAFS don't work out? Oh, I feel horrible, man. I feel horrible because I really want them to. I really, really do. All three of us, we want those relationships to work out. So it's always a kick in the butt, Okay, so here's a question. What couple surprised me the most from a tough start to greatness? Jeffy and Shawnice. Love them to death. Getting married, because they know how to stick in there and fight no matter what. Their stuff is out there, but they fight through it and they reach a conclusion, a solution. I love them. MAFS need a plus size bride. Okay, yeah, I agree. I don't disagree with that at all. Thoughts on long distance relationships? Yes. Long distance relationships can work. They can work, but only among mature people who are ready to settle down and understand that geographical distance is not a deal breaker when you have love that keeps you close together. Most people who are long distance, the thing is that I want to be close to you. I want to be close to you. Look, first of all, don't be long distance if you can help it at all. But if you have to be long distance, watch movies together via Netflix. There's so many ways to be in each other's face, even though you're not there. But my suggestion, if you got a long distance relationship, do whatever you can to close that gap immediately, okay? Because relationships thrive on touch and proximity. It's more than just seeing each other. You have to be in each other's presence and feel each other's spirit. Okay, so that's short minute answer. What's the number one marriage relationship advice I have? Oh my God. Here it is. The number one marriage relationship advice I have. Okay, may not be the number one, but it's up there. Never tell your partner, don't change me. Don't try to change me. Accept me as I am. With all due respect, that is complete, unequivocal, absolute BS. If you're in a relationship, you're in a relationship to change. Everything that happens in your life changes you. Every experience you have, everything you go through, every birthday, every tragedy, every triumph, it all changes you. And so for you to ask your spouse to not change you, why the heck are you even married or in a relationship? We get into a relationship so we can change and become better for each other. Get that out of your vocabulary. All right. Was Chris my least favorite husband of all seasons? You know what? Let them. I ain't worried about it. I'm not talking about him. I'm not going to talk about Chris. I'm sorry. What couples do you regret matching? Oh my God. I regret matching. You know what? That's hard because I'm not going to say I regret matching them because every time we match couples, we had the sincerest of intentions. I regret the outcome of quite a few. Okay, I'm going to leave that alone. How do you handle when your spouse puts his children and family before the marriage? Yikes. When your spouse puts his children, if they're your biological children and family, that's a problem. There has to be a discussion there. There has to be an open and honest discussion. And you have to understand what marital hierarchy is. I'm a firm believer in marital hierarchy. Quite often people will say, hey, you know what? My kids come first. No, they do not. Your kids do not come before your spouse. I'm sorry, they don't. My wife and I, we have a policy. It's us versus them. Why? Because if my wife and I are not happy, the kids see it and they're going to be affected. Okay? So if you're putting your children or your family above your spouse, that is a major problem, and you have misplaced your priorities. Those priorities are terribly misplaced. And if that continues, you're going to lose not only your spouse, but you're going to sincerely affect how your children view relationships. How do you handle, okay, that's it, just say that. How many seasons of Married at First Sight will be made? Oh my God, I don't know, hopefully 100. Do the married at first couples sign a prenup? There is something in each agreement where when you come into the marriage, you leave with what you have. So no one's getting taken advantage of. Look, we've been doing this thing for 13 seasons. Trust me, it's ironclad. Divorce, blended, family. The reason we don't do children on the show is simple. We don't do children because it's very difficult. We don't want children to have new people coming into their life and leaving their life and all. We don't want that, okay? So we try to protect the babies. Why do most men, oh God, any question with most men is a problem. Why do most men, unless you know most men, why do most men always focus on a woman being submissive, but they aren't a great leader? Ooh. Why are you focusing on a woman being submissive when you ain't a great leader? You know, that's deep. And I'm going to, Ms. Spencer, thank you. All right? Because I firmly believe that submission in a relationship is mandatory. I'm going to leave that right there and let it marinate for a second. Submission in a relationship is mandatory. But here's the deal. It's not just on the woman. It's on the husband and the wife. Submissiveness is supposed to be practiced by both parties. So if a man wants you to be submissive and he's not being submissive also, that's a problem. Sure, I'm submissive to my wife, but she understands I'm still a man. She understands I got testosterone. Yes, she's submissive to me. But we also are strong for each other when we need to be strong, and we submit to one another when we need to submit, okay? In order to submit, you have to feel safe. You have to feel that there's a safe place to land with your partner. If you don't feel that there's a safe place to land, and he wants you to submit, and he, as you said, he ain't being a leader, you're not handling his business, that's a problem. You don't have to submit to anyone if they're not submitting to you. Sorry, dudes. Okay. How do you feel about the apathy to marriage in the U.S.? Oh, God, I hate it. I'm such a big firm believer in marriage. When people are apathetic about marriage, it bugs the absolute crap out of me. Because I believe marriage is the one thing that lends to a stable, successful society. Okay? So I believe in marriage, and I will always believe in it and always fight for it, irrespective, okay? Question about communication. What if you communicate well when you're together, but once apart, the communication is poor? Okay, what do you mean when you're together you communicate well, when your part is poor? I don't know if you mean geographical distance or what, but understand what communication is. Communication is more than verbal. Communication is also not only what I say, but how I act. I communicate through my eyes, I communicate through my gestures, I communicate through my tone. It's not only through my words. I communicate through everything. Every part of me communicates all the time. I ain't got to say nothing to you and just do this. I just communicate a whole bunch. Paragraphs, right? So whether you're communicating close or apart, okay, your communication has to be effective. It has to be vulnerable. If you're saying you communicate well when you're together because you just talk a lot, that's one thing. But if you're communicating well together, you're communicating well apart, okay? Because you're being vulnerable and open and honest with one another. Okay, but it's still abuse on the normal side. I don't know what that means. What do you say to your sister when her... Hold on. What do you say to your sister when her marriage is not doing so great? No talking, text messaging instead. What do you say to your sister when her marriage is not doing so great? Your sister needs to say something to her husband. I mean, I don't know if there's anything you can say to your sister if her marriage is not doing great. If her marriage is not doing great, the only thing you can say to your sister is y'all need counseling. Okay, and it's not your job. Love you. I know you love your sister. It's not your job to intervene and to give them counsel unless you're a professional, and to tell them what's going on and what's not going right in their marriage. Okay, so what do you say when their marriage is not going so great? They need to get their stuff together. I'm a firm believer in protecting that marriage and not letting other people come in and counsel you when they don't know what they're talking about. Not saying that you don't KLP2, but I'm just saying that don't take the responsibility of your sister's marriage on you. It's not your responsibility. How do you know when your relationship is ready for marriage? Yes! How do you know when your relationship is ready for marriage? There you go. I love these questions. This is how you know. This is for a single person. How do you know when your relationship is ready for marriage? Okay. First of all, do you share the same values? Now, people don't talk about values. Values are the things, those immeasurable principles or unshakable principles that you live your life by. Are you sharing the same values with each other? Okay? Are you at a point where you are okay being around each other, whether you're with friends or without friends? Have you committed and gotten everything else out of your life? Are you finished your dating? Are you finished being single? I'm serious. Are you finished being single? That's when you know you're ready for marriage. When you're finished being single. When somebody can walk by and you don't care because your heart's with your spouse or with your intended. You know that you're ready for marriage when you've locked everybody else out and this is the woman in your life. And you're ready to make a mature and vulnerable commitment to that person for the rest of your life. When you make the decision that I'm going to love you and grow in love with you, that's when you know you're ready for marriage. Not when you're still playing around. Okay, well, we ain't getting no younger. We might as well do it like that stupid song says. Meet me at the altar in your white dress. We ain't getting no younger. That's some dumb stuff. Okay, no. When you are serious, you're mature. You got your finances together. You plan. Your life is planned out. And you know that you made a commitment to be with this person and you're not even married yet. That's when you're ready. How do I get my longtime boyfriend to marry me? Jesus, man. Black, you can't do that, sweetheart. Black Journey, you can't get your longtime boyfriend to you can't get him to do nothing. He needs to step up to the plate, definitely, but that's not your job. I'm a traditionalist. I believe that if a man wants to marry you, that man needs to step up and do it. Here's the question. If he's your longtime boyfriend and he's not married you yet, you have to give him, I hate to say it, you got to set some boundaries and some parameters. A man will do what you let him do. Tell him this is not going to just be a boyfriend and girlfriend thing till we die. No, you set some boundaries to him and let him know it's time to lock it down because I'm not wasting a whole lot of time. If he loves you, he'll step up to the plate. Sometimes they're afraid. Sometimes men need counselors. Sometimes men need mentors. Okay? Because they just don't know what to do. They're trying to get their stuff together, but sometimes they do. Okay? I don't know if that's his case or not. Okay. How do you restart at 49? Very easy. Restart. It don't make no difference what your age is. The way you restart is jump back in the game. Age don't mean nothing. Okay? If you've just been separated again, you're 49 years old, what you required at 49 is going to be a lot different than what you required at 29 or 39, okay? At 49, your standards have to be normalized. All right? Don't be trying to get no 25-year-old and you 49. All right, look, these are just quick answers. I'll answer two more, then I'm going to roll out. How do you communicate with a spouse that becomes an ostrich when issues arise? Meaning he sticks her head in the ground, hoping when they pull out, the issues are gone. That's a person who's terrified of confrontation. That's what you got. You got a person who's terrified of confrontation. They're afraid. So when you talk about issues, and some people are afraid of confrontation because they always forecast the relationship. They forecast doom. So when they have an argument or when you want to talk to them about an issue, they forecast doom. That person needs to understand that arguing is not a bad thing. Arguing is not a bad thing. I'll say it again. Arguing is not a bad thing if you argue towards resolution. So what you might have to do is present arguments to him in a way that are not incendiary, that are not always hot. I'm not saying you do this, sweetie. I'm not. But present arguments to him in a way, or discussions with him in a way that's not hot. But he has to understand that every argument is not bad. The only way the two people will learn to grow is if they debate, resolve, move forward. Debate, resolve, move forward. That's what relationships are made of. Okay? So if he's sticking his head in the sand, he's terrified because he thinks that every time there's an argument, that means you're in trouble. And you're not. It means that you're actually doing very well. When a couple comes to me and says, wow, we had a big argument, my response normally is, great, that's awesome. That means you're communicating. Now, let's talk about how to communicate effectively so you can resolve. Okie dokie. Okay, will there ever be an LGBTQ couple on MAFS? Why or why not? I can't even answer that. Honestly, I don't know if they're, we have on Unmatchables, we had a LGBTQ, IA, I don't know all the letters anymore, but we had some individuals on Unmatchables. We have not. Logistically, it's very difficult to do that because of the way we do things. But I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work in the future. How do you discover new things about your spouse when you feel you know everything about them? You don't have to discover. Don't make it a job, man. Spend time together and watch things develop. You don't have to. I don't try to find out stuff about my wife. The more time I spend together with her, and we spend a heck of a lot of time together, we just organically learn more. There's nothing else. I mean, you don't have to really do a whole lot. Okay. Last question. Let's see. I'm going to deal with this one. Mas Vasquez, trusting after infidelity. Yikes. Trusting after infidelity. Wow. That is so huge. How do you trust after infidelity? Here's the thing. Understand what forgiveness looks like. You cannot trust if you cannot forgive. Well, what does forgiving mean? If any of you out there are spiritual people or Christian people, you must understand that to forgive someone means that you forgive them just like we are forgiven. If you're a Christian, as I am, I believe that Jesus Christ forgave me of my sins, my past, present, and future. He tells us that we have to forgive each other as we have been forgiven. That means that you got to forgive someone of their past, their present, and the possibility that they might do it again. That's tough, ain't it? If you really want to forgive, forgiveness says I got to forgive you and not hold it over your head. Doesn't mean I'm going to forget it, because I'll never forget it, because my remembering the issue helps me to prepare myself in the future. But you can forgive and stay, or you can forgive and leave. But I need you to separate forgiveness from your presence in the relationship. Forgiveness means that I have to release you from my judgment. I have to release you from my ire, my anger. I have to release you from that and let you thrive and become a better person. Because as long as I'm banging that thing over your head and saying, I forgive you, but I'm watching to make sure you don't do it again. You better not do it again, because I'll forgive you, but I'm watching you. That's not real forgiveness. Forgiveness says, I forgive you completely. I know what you did in the past. I forgive it. I know what you've done in the present. I forgive who you are, and I forgive the possibility that you might do it again. Now, with that in mind, if you decide that you're going to stay, that's one thing. But if you decide you're going to leave, you got to forgive regardless. Okay? All right. That's it, guys. I can't answer no more questions. I just wanted to jump on real quick. I just want y'all to know I love you, man. And, okay. Love you guys dearly. Thank you so much for tuning in with me. I'm coming back. I'm going to be back. Maybe by the end of the week. Who knows? I'll be back. Okay. Going to answer some more questions. But for right now, I got to go. Love you guys. Take care.